Hello guys, welcome to my channel. 2.3.3 changes are out, so let's talk about them. We finally have information regarding SANBY rework, and it's looking pretty good. Supposedly, it is a 10% plus DPS upgrade. Buff, I don't know how much exactly it's gonna end up being, but she also received a lot of quality of life changes, so that's pretty good. Also, there were of course changes for Yhari, Kumano, Manato, and Luchia as well. Of course, we'll start first with SANBY, because everybody wants to know what happened with SANBY, so let's talk about it. So thanks to Leifa, we have a nice TLDR of SANBY changes. Now her basic attack 3 will group enemies. This is a massive quality of life change, because before it was very difficult to play SANBY in scenarios where there were multiple enemies, because you had effectively no grouping, and it felt like you also were missing your attacks. Also now the dodge counter will grant silver flash state for 10 seconds, and if an enemy is marked, SANBY can interrupt her basic attack or even perform a dash attack and instantly use her special attack. So you can also cancel, interrupt effectively her basic attacks. No longer you're locked in animations. This is gonna be very smooth, very nice to play. Good stuff. But of course she also has other buffs, such as when triggering White Thunder damage instances, special White Thunder execute will automatically activate after the animation ends, dealing multiple instances of electric aftershock damage. You will also have invincibility during this duration. Here are the multipliers as well. Feel free to read them on the screen if you want. But what personally I'm not sure is whether you can perform like a quick swap with this as well. Do let me know in the comments if you can. I think you should be able to do it, but it's still very nice addition to have. And also a big change now is whenever an enemy is marked, aftershock damage from allies increases the mark value on the enemy, and it has an internal cooldown of 5 seconds. I am not certain whether this aftershock damage from allies means everybody in the team or just herself. As you can see here, it specifically says upon being hit by squad mates aftershock. So I assume it means when everybody else but SANBY performs aftershock, it's gonna count for that. Also, whenever an enemy with an activated mark dies, the White Thunder damage instances will be automatically fired at the nearest enemy, so you don't necessarily lose the stacks. This is also very good change. And after this, all of these that I already mentioned, she seems to be much more smoother to play. Lots of the issues she had, because for those who don't know, SANBY actually received several bug fixes post-release, but it was not enough. And with these changes, I think it's gonna work really great with Orphe, and probably she's gonna be best in slot with Orphe. Whether it's gonna be Orphe trigger SANBY or perhaps some other combination, I'm not certain, but because you specifically have that 5-second aftershock cooldown, so even if your allies are spamming aftershock, you still have that 5-second cooldown. And also another huge change is that SANBY, Chain, and Ultimate are now considered aftershock damage as well. So I believe if you just play SANBY with Orphe, I guess you'll be able to extend Orphe buff to quite a good extent. I think this is pretty good. So overall with SANBY changes, supposedly subject to change, 12 to 15% damage increase plus quality of life changes, extremely subject to change regarding the damage numbers, but nevertheless she's a great pickup. Regarding Orphe, I would highly recommend you wait a bit longer as we get more information regarding SANBY, and then see how well she works with Orphe before you instantly pull Orphe, because who knows, maybe SANBY and Trigger might be already very good enough itself, and maybe you won't really necessarily need Orphe as much. I still believe Orphe is gonna be a good, really strong option, but how much the difference is gonna be between SANBY Orphe or SANBY Trigger variation, that we'll have to see. Of course, you also have TLDR changes of Yhari, Kumano, Manato, and Luchia as well. Yhari, on the first glance, it might seem quite hefty nerfs, but actually, I personally believe she is buffed, and I'll explain in a moment. Basically, her charge basic attack damage reduction is increased by 25% now when you're charging the basic attack. The additional ability max damage reduction has been increased, so you're gonna have more damage reduction when you're on lower HP. Also, the critical damage maximum you could get from it has been slightly reduced. The mindscapes have been changed as well. The mindscapes M1 adrenaline gain has been slightly increased. That's all right. M4 nerfed, and M6 also slightly nerfed, but honestly, who cares about the Mindscapes? I would say the big change for Yhari is her core passive, and it's actually not 10 adrenaline, it's actually decibels. Yes, there is a correction, and this is actually decibels, and it's 10 decibels per HP percentage lost. We already know that Yhari was gaining a certain amount of decibels whenever you lost HP. However, we were not sure whether this is a part of that or this is like an additional part on top. If this is a separate additional part on top where you're getting 10 decibels on top of already what you got, I would say it's very potent. But if this just updates the old number to whatever it used to be and it's still higher, I would still say it's a buff. So I think Yhari, it's still probably gonna be quite decent option, and I think this core passive is gonna matter a lot of how much decibels you gain, because the more you can get ultimate, of course, the better it's gonna be. Then we have Kumano changes. Kumano changes has quite a lot of more changes than this. We'll go over to that in a moment, but we'll actually hop to Luchia first. So Luchia, sheer force buff, now it's gonna start at 10,000 points per 200. Effectively, I would say this is probably a buff because you start with 10,000 over 9,000. Sure, the scaling from 250 to 200, still think it's good, but the other changes are very important and good about Luchia. So now her ultimate triggers quick assist. Honestly, I feel like support ults pretty much always kind of do that. I was surprised it didn't do it from the get-go. Then we have entering Dreamscape can now trigger quick assist. Etherveil HP buff duration 30 seconds to 40 seconds. Cool, but you kind of reapply these fields often. Aftershock cooldown has been increased, the intervals. This could be slightly annoying, I guess, but at least the core passive damage buff has been increased to 12 seconds, and that's very nice, better uptime. Her dupes, specifically M1 Rash Shred, has been buffed to 15%, so it's going to be more desirable for players. But at the same time, I don't think you need to go for her M1 on launch whatsoever. M1 also now has a lower decibel regen. I still believe it's a better buff overall, simply because you have more Rash Shred, but although decibel regeneration is quite powerful because ZZ devs are well known to put a lot of decibel generation stuff behind Mindscapes, it is what it is. M4 got slightly nerfed as well with decibel generation. Then we have Luchia's signature. Energy regen has been increased, team damage buff has been reduced. However, now we have a 12% buff increase in HP. This is going to help Rapture teams. So overall, I think this signature is better than what was the previous version, but of course the original version of Luchia's signature was much better with all type res. Then we also have Yhari signature change. Ice shear damage per stack has been reduced. I believe it goes up to 3 stacks, so you will lose a bit of damage boost there. It is what it is. Then let's go over Kumano and Manato changes. There are actually even more changes than this, by the way. We'll go to that over soon. His special can now only be triggered once every 10 seconds and can now be charged. Ignition critical rate 15%, and now also gives 25% fire damage boost. So this should improve his ignition state. You'll be able to do more damage. M4 unfortunately gives you less HP, and M6 has less fire damage per stack. I'm not sure how many stacks you have, but we'll be able to find out very shortly. We also do have multiplier changes for Kumano, Manato, and Yhari as well. We'll go over Yhari changes first. Do know that this third hit damage is actually incorrectly written. The actual number is 421.7% to 415.7%. So actually it is a nerf. This is not a buff, it's a nerf. Then her basic attack Frost Embrace did receive some multiplier changes as well. You do more days though. You have a bit more days but less damage. Her X special, also a bit of multiplier nerfs across the board a bit. And downwards, nothing else. Then we also have Kumano changes. He received quite a lot of multiplier changes. And before you panic, we'll go over a nice TLDR that kind of explains it, that it seems that he's still in a good spot. Because here, of course, you see a lot of red numbers and you might panic, you know, like, oh my god, he's terrible. But do note that he did receive changes elsewhere, which kind of make up for this. All of this stuff that you can see here on the screen. Of course, you can pause it if you want to read it in more detail. I just don't don't want to be the video too long, you know? Smile. It's already very long. So here is a nice compilation of Manato changes by this user, GGG Akatsuki IP. So from what I read and in Hakush and understand, Manato enhanced basic attack now consumes 3% max HP instead of 20% max HP. So the critical damage from core skill, nerf 60 critical damage to 50 critical damage, now probably applies to his enhanced basic attack. Due to this, the EBA multiplier was adjusted. That's the reason why his multipliers were lowered, and it should make up for it. As for the M6, it is true that you did lose his fire damage bonus a bit there, but now his core skill gives you a flat 25% damage increase whenever you're in his transformed ignition state, whatever you want to call it. So it should be a net 50% fire damage gain, but due to this, his wall moveset multiplier got reduced by a smaller margin compared to his enhanced basic attack. So these are basically pretty much the reasons why they have reduced his multipliers, because they kind of changed things within his kit to make up for it. I'm not gonna read the entire thing so it doesn't go too long, but basically TLDR, assist follow-up, biggest nerf, enhanced basic attack, moderate DPS nerf, but now properly buffed by his core skill critical damage. His wall other moveset does more DPS due to his self buff being better or more consistent. So basically Manato should be alright. You will still of course want to get dupes on this guy, and I'm not sure what's his team gonna end up being. I surely hope it's not gonna be like Orphe, Manato, and Lighter at the end of the day. Maybe I would kind of like to see Manato being playing in more Rapture type of teams if possible, but of course we'll see over time and with testing what ends up being. We also do have a bit of extra information specifically regarding HP inflation in endgame modes. This is a very heavy discussed topic, and I've seen within the community that people are saying that HP has been deflated, and that is actually not true. It is true that these numbers here, as you can see, are lower. However, the first iteration of these bosses still had lower HP than you have now. So basically, here you can see an example. Butcher started with 118 million HP, then it went to 152 million HP, and now it's 134 million HP. So when people saw that it went from 152 million to 134 million, they thought it's HP deflation, but in reality, 134 million is still a higher number than 118 million. So in correct economics term, it should be called disinflation, a reduction of the rate of the inflation. It's still inflated, but not as much as it used to be. Smile. And lastly, we have a bit of sad news as well. Looks like Vivian's skin has been removed. There were leaks, rumors, whatever you want to call it, for a Vivian summer skin. It has been determined, but it seems it has been removed, so no Vivian swimsuit. Looks like. Unlucky, guys. It is what it is. And also, another nerf, speaking of character, model, skins, whatever, Luchia ties were also reduced. It is what it is, guys. So yeah, this is pretty much it for this video, guys. If you have any questions, would like to identify yourself, feel free to write within the comments down below. Don't forget to give it a sub, like, and all that YouTube stuff. Smile. I wish you a wonderful day, guys, and see you in the next video. Ciao.